from somebody who was talking about pain related to a hip hike. Sent me a picture of the back, and you could obviously tell that one pelvis was quite high. So I want to talk about the pelvic girdle. We have a shoulder girdle and we have a pelvic girdle, and most people don't really think about the pelvis that way. Shoulder girdle, I can do 4 things. I can go up, which is usually bad. I can go down, I can depress the shoulder girdle, which is usually a good thing. I can be protracted or slouchy, and I can be retracted. So there's 4 things, right? I can go up, down, forward, or backward. In the hip, it's a little different. The pelvis is basically a bowl. So that bowl could be anterior pelvic tilted, it could be posterior pelvic tilted, and I can also shift up and shift down. Okay, so that's what the hip girdle could do. Now in this picture you're showing me, I was looking at a shoulder girdle. Shoulder girdle seemed okay, a little protracted like most people are. Hip girdle is super messed up. His right was a good 2 inches higher than the left. There's a lot of muscles like the QL, the right side of your lower back, your hip flexors, your psoas, stuff like that that's going to get really tight because you've got that one side that's cranked up. So we're going to talk about how to try to make it as even as possible. There's one drill, it's a magic drill, I love doing it. I think it's worth doing if you're going to do a lot of unilateral work as well. So I'm going to have Elijah here, and I'm going to have her step on to something that's about 6 to 8 inches, and she's going to face this way. Now, when I first learned this drill and I first started using it, I actually used to use stairs, because I could just use the railing, I could hold onto the stairs. So she's actually going to step all the way onto her box. And what I want to show, I've just kind of taped up her shirt to show this, the SI joints, which are basically an inch below the dimples of your back, hopefully would be even. Now, this person who sent me the email, his was like this. His right side was super high, and it's a bad thing. So if we've got the SI joint, again, if I have my dimples on my back, it's about 1 inch below that, but not onto the glute or tailbone. What Elijah's going to do, she's going to hold on to something so she's stable. Again, I would use stairs off the edge of the stairs, a good idea. She's going to shuffle over to the side, where one foot is right off. Now what I'm going to do, if she was going to mess this up right off the bat, the first thing she's going to do is push this hip out. Just push this hip out both ways. Okay, she's going to see the SI joint and how it's shifted. I kind of want that, but don't artificially do that by pushing this hip up. So I'm going to block her hip. She's going to try to get this and drop her foot down as low to the ground as possible and let gravity pull on it. I want her to take this and drive it as high as possible. So you're going to see this change here. Again, she hasn't pushed her hip up. Her hip has stayed straight. She's going to drop. So you're going to see this piece moving because the leg is going up and down. So she's going to go up. Crank it up as high as you can. You should flex at the top. She's going to go down. You should try to relax and let it pull. Let gravity stretch all those muscles up, especially the QL, hip flexor, iliacus, all that kind of stuff. Back up. Okay. Back down. It starts moving then. Okay. You can feel on the other side of the hip how well it's moving. Okay. Now she's going to switch to the other side. Again, hold on to something stable. Don't stand at the top of the staircase. She's going to drop all the way down and block that hip again. So she can't drop very much, okay? Which means that hip is kind of tight. She's going to drive it up though. Incredibly strong at driving it up. Okay, so that's some of the core musculature. She's going to try to drop it down. Now, because it was hard for her to drop it down, she's going to spend some time letting it hang. Let gravity pull on that leg. Drive it up, flexing as high as you can. The other thing, nothing should be happening in the torso. It's pretty much straight. She's going to drop. And it's starting to kind of chunk down. It's chop, 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 chop. That's that muscle letting go. That's a good thing. Crank it up as high as you can. Drop. When it stops chop, chop, chopping and it just straight drops down, that's probably as many reps as I would do. Drive it high. Drive it down. It starts looking and feeling more fluid. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Drive it up. Drive it down. Drive it up. Drive it down. Now it starts looking fluid. So come over to the side again. I want you to still face that, both feet on the box. Now here's the thing, you have one side, okay? One of the sides, most likely the one that is hiked up, is going to be incredibly hard to let your body relax enough to drop it down. So what I saw on her, it was hard for her to drop her left down. So when she comes over to her right leg, and you're do about 2 sets of these anyway, I know that this one drops down really easily. Okay, boom, drops. Okay, hangs really easily, there's no challenge there. So I want her to spend more time trying to crank this side up. Hold it, 1, 2, 3, drop, back up. 1, 2, 3. She's high, focusing on the high part, because that was the one that was more of a challenge to get up, but it was easy to get down. Now go to the other side. The other side, however, was harder to go down, so she's going to focus on the stretch of it by staying at the bottom for 1, 2, 3, hike up, get out. 1, 2, 3, hike up, get up, hang, 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 get out. Does it feel fluid as it let go? Feels better. Okay. Okay, so it's just a hip hike drill. You're trying to level it out. Again, what I'm trying to do is figure out which side feels like it's really easy to go up. The side that's easy to go up, I'm not going to work on that. I'm going to work on trying to get it to stretch. On the side that's hard to let actually hang, what you're going to find is you're going to do this, you're going to stand here, and it's basically not going to drop. It won't move unless I'm pushing my hip up. It's stuck. Let it hang. Keep letting it hang, keep letting it hang, keep letting it hang. Don't focus on going up, focus on going down. The point is the hip. I should be able to torque side to side, up and down. I would hopefully have fluidity in my hips like I have fluidity in my shoulder girdle and my thoracic. Okay? So what things can you do beyond that to fix it? So I'm going to show a Cossack squat. Now to me, the adductors are always going to be super tight when you've got this hip hike issue. Okay, so I'm going to show this one. Now, use a bench. Cossack squats are incredibly challenging. Most people don't have the flexibility for it, especially if you sit for a living. Here's a basic Cossack squat, okay? So you can just see the premise is that I can get all the way down here, be tall, and not have to grab. Now, generally speaking, I can get to about there. If I was to go any lower, you saw me fall, that's what happens. When I go to this other side, though, that is much more of a challenge. I feel a lot more in the long adductors, inner thigh as a stretch. So I do that regularly, and it's challenging for me. So for you, what I want you to do is use a box, a table, a couch, a chair, I don't care what it is, make sure it's stable, there's no wheels. Start wide. Toes have to be forward. Now I'm going to sit out to the side, sticking my butt behind the heel. I'm going to grab onto something to hold on to, and get myself as low as possible. Get out of it. Watch what happens to this foot. This one is staying straight. This one is twisting. I'm trying to keep my chest up. However low I can go, let yourself go. If you get down here, that's fine. Don't tear your legs apart. Don't wishbone yourself. Gentle, gentle stretch. Okay, chest stays up, back stays flat. Again, when this one twists, this one's forward. That one's forward when this one twists. It's a great stretch. We should do it all the time anyway. Okay? So you're going to do the hip hike drill. Try to even that out as much as possible. Get rid of the choppy. 10 to 12 aside will usually do it. Then what are you going to do? You're going to do a Cossack squat, holding onto something. The next thing you're going to do, you got to work on trying to fix that exercise-wise. So here's my suggestion. If your hip hike is extremely bad to the point where it's causing pain up the whole chain, stop doing bilateral leg work for a bit. 2 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. Only do unilateral leg work. Okay? Unilateral meaning one leg, not two. If all I'm doing is squats and deadlifts and leg press and leg curl and hamstring curl, and it's all in a machine or even with a barbell and free weight, my biggest problem is most likely you're doing this. Okay? Or deadlifting and pulling one side more than the other. So forget it. Let go. Reverse lunge, one leg Romanian deadlift, one leg glute bridges, anything with single leg. I think reverse lunges and some of the core challenges are probably be the best way to do this. Okay? So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to show Elijah, again focusing on these SI joints. Now when Elijah does a reverse lunge, I want you to watch. She's just do a regular reverse lunge for you. These are even. Her belt stayed even. Stand up. The other leg. It's even. Okay? Go up. Show it how it messes up with people. She's going to go down. You're going to watch how that now angled. Because this hip dropped. Stand up. Try the other side. If it's wrong, what you're going to see is the belt will bend like that. And that's a bad thing because you're going to have pinching on this side of the lower back, stretching on that side. It's all messed up. Okay, so masking tape is the training tool of the century. I use it for everything. Seriously, I go through rolls of painter's tape like it's ridiculous. Here's what I would do, okay? And people are going to think you're weird or a superhero or something. Take painter's tape around your belt. Okay? Make it really thick so that you're awesome. prepping for something cool. Now here's what I want you to watch. Again, if I do a reversal and that happens, okay, or that happens, you're going to see it in a mirror. If I face a mirror and I'm this way, I'm also going to see this has dropped, that belt has changed. Can I keep it as straight as possible? Okay. When I'm doing that reverse lunge, I'm only going to go to the depth that allows this to mostly stay perfectly straight. Exercise-wise, I think we should anterior load, goblet load, kettlebell half racked, full racked. I think we should do stuff like that in a reverse lunge to challenge us and not have our arms to help us out. So, I may take a medicine ball, place it on the chest. Again, this is what matters. Can I keep that belt straight, not bent? What you're working on is this right side for me is a lot bigger of a challenge, balance-wise, posture-wise, to keep from dropping. The only way to even it out is to do unilateral stuff. Okay? Kettlebell. Racked. Okay? Racked meaning that the knuckles are here. I'm basically tightening or pinching the armpit. I can do contralateral, which is pretty natural. Try to keep that flat. My left leg is technically the one doing most of the work, so right hand would be contralateral. If I want a bigger challenge, ipsilateral. Okay, same side. This way easier to tip and not keep that straight. Okay? So I can do contra or ipsy. I could hold 2 kettlebells. Doesn't have to be a kettlebell. It could be a dumbbell. I could go contralateral. Okay, again, belt has stayed straight. Could be ipsilateral, which is a bigger challenge. Okay? Last thing I'm going to show you. If you have access to your TRX, use it. Could use a bench to catch. Could use anything about this high. One leg Romanian deadlift, I want you to stretch. Most likely your hamstrings, especially on one side. Terrible, terrible, terrible. The problem with the one leg RDL though is the balance challenge. When people do one leg RDLs the first time, they're all over the place. You spend more time balancing than working the muscle, and your muscles are already imbalanced. So I don't need to have a balance challenge into an imbalanced muscle, it's just dumb. So again, I could use something really stable, and I could go catch, get out of it. An ideal one leg Romanian deadlift, my heel is the same height as my hip and my head. What's going to go wrong for the people with hip height issues is this. You're going to externally rotate the hip, you're going to turn it out, and most likely cross over yourself because, again, your hips are mangled. They're not even and fluid. So with the TRX, if you have access, and watch from the back, I'm going to use it for balance, and I'm going to use it to help me do what I need to do with my arms to make sure that my foot's went straight back, didn't cross, didn't open, didn't twist. Chest and back, nice and tall. I'm in the very back of my heel. What it does is let you hang out in the stretch for 3 to 5 minutes. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is hard. My body's wanting to torque and twist. Okay? So, superhero belt, masking tape goes a long way when you're trying to exercise. Any questions? Let me know. The hip height drill is not just for people with messed up hips. If you sit for a living, you do a lot of commuting, you tend to sleep in the fetal position, whatever, give it a try. Before you do your unilateral work, you'd be surprised how well your hips move and feel after. Any questions, put them in the comments.